Hello everyone, I am Silverraptor, and welcome back to Magic the Gathering Arena, where I am again joined with Thrantar. Hello, Thrantar.
Hey, Silverraptor, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure joining you again as we continue poking through Arena and exploring what Magic's newest online client has to offer.
Yes, so as you can see, I have numerous card packs to open. And, well, let's figure out what's in them. We'll see what we get and decide what kind of deck we want to build from the cards that we open.
Certainly can't fault you for that.
Alright, so, Colossal Dreadmaw, I have some of these, but I didn't feel... If I had compared this to having this or a Carnage Tyrant, I would have picked the Carnage Tyrant.
I mean, they're strictly worse than Carnage Tyrants.
Right. Catalyst Elemental, that's not really all that good.
Not in most circumstances. Any creature that sacrifices
For mana.
itself for mana, you have to keep an eye on because it's potentially broken depending on things, but the rate probably just isn't there.
Prevent all combat damage to be dealt this turn. What's this? This cage. Enter the battlefield. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until the cage leaves the battlefield. Okay, so that's just a typical removal.
It's an Oblivion Ring.
Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. Well, that's good if it's, like, say, on the, that merfolk that can't be blocked. You can put this on. Definitely draw cards.
Drawing cards is good. Note that the startup rate is pretty slow. You're paying at least 4 mana for your first card because you need to pay 2 to play it, then 2 to equip it.
Right. Alright, what do I have? The Sun Cleanser. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1, remove all counters from target creature. It can't have counters put on it for as long as Sun Cleanser remains on the battlefield. Target opponent loses all counters. That player can't get counters for as long as Sun Cleanser remains on the battlefield. So you can either choose to remove any kind of like -1/-1s on your creatures or +1/+1s on your opponent's creatures.
You can also remove poison or energy or experience counters on your opponent.
Ah. Alright. The next set of cards. Let's see, we got a common. Ooh, we built that up. So we've got Vampire. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That actually sounds fairly good.
Slow.
Kind of walls delay card. Titanic Growth, Rabid Bite, Luminous Bonds, another kind of removal. Psychic Corrosion. Whenever your opponent draws a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. What's this? Exclusion Mage. When it's the battlefield, return target creature and opponent controls to its owner's hand. So that's a bounce creature. And Mystic Archaeologist, which pay a bunch of land and draw 2 cards. I don't feel that's too strong. Alright, next. Another one of those. Marauding Axe, Spark Tongue Dragon. When it's in the battlefield, you may pay that. Whenever you do, deal 3 damage to any target creature. So, this could be a very expensive summon. Sky March, Bloodletter. I've seen a lot of vampire decks run this. Infectious Horror. Whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 2 life. We've got an uncommon there and a Skyrider Patrol. At the end of combat, on your turn, you may pay that. When you do, put +1/+1 on another target creature you control, and that creature gains flying until the end of turn. So in a green-blue deck, this could be potentially beneficial.
It's a recurring source of +1/+1 counters.
Okay.
If nothing else.
Dragon Horde, enters the battlefield under control. Put a gold counter on Dragon Horde. Remove a gold counter from Dragon Horde, draw a card. Add 1 mana to of any color.
If you want to play Dragon Tribal, it is a payoff for playing Dragon Tribal.
Ah.
That also helps for few into dragons unless you support multiple colors of dragons. So there's multiple, synergies there.
Right. Revitalize, gain 3 life, draw a card. Doesn't get too much. Sunderhide Wolf. +2/+0 as long as you control a blue creature. Gets +1/+0 as long as you control an artifact. I've been noticing that blue and artifacts tend to be going together right now.
It's certainly a long and storied history, and it's being played up a bit right now. But in general, blue and artifacts get along.
Yeah.
Red and artifacts have a love-hate relationship, and green and artifacts just have a hate relationship.
Because green's all about the nature and the forest, and artifacts are abominations. Abomination machines and such.
Because red covers both the mad geniuses, who often lead a little bit into blue, but there's a lot of mad in the mad genius and not just genius. But red also covers like barbarism and shattering the tools of civilization. For instance, specifically shatter.
This would only be good if I was in trying to deck out my opponent. Get the opponent to shove all their cards into their graveyard.
Well, not necessarily. So, the average deck runs like 24 lands. So you're drawing a card per turn off this, more than a card per turn off this on average.
Okay, so for a drawing deck, this could be potentially beneficial.
I mean, I think you want to be using both halves. I think you're a mill deck that wants to draw cards, but...
Naturalize, Infectious Horror, Root Snare, Shock. Deals damage to any target. I think Magma Spray is better. Because it exiles the target.
But again, Magma Spray exiles, but only hits creatures. So shock, you can shock players, you can shock planeswalkers.
Right, reach. Diamond Mare. And then enter the battlefield, choose a color. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen color, you gain a life. There is a deck that I wanted to do. There is a horse, where every time you gain life, it summons a horse token, a 5/5 horse token. And all other horses you control have indestructible. And I wanted to create a horse deck around that card, but there's just not enough horses to make it worthwhile.
You don't need that many other horses. Like, it's generating its own horse tokens. What it really wants you to do is gain life, not give it other horses to make indestructible.
Okay.
It'll make its own horses.
We can make a deck like that maybe in the future. And there's this one. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen color, you gain 1 life. So, that's amazing. Sleep. Tap all creatures target player controls. Yeah. Shapeshift. Sacrifice any number of lands. Search your library for up to that many land cards. Put them onto the battlefield. Tap, then shuffle your library. So that's like if you have too much of one type of land color and you need to reorganize to pull out. If you're running a multicolored deck, I'm guessing.
It's a combo enabler. It's for when you need certain specific lands.
Yes, but they come into the play tapped. They can't be used until next turn.
Sure. But if you're... The classic is grabbing Valakut, which is not on Arena currently, but does exist in other clients, and a pile of mountains. Because Valakut says whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you have, I want to say it's 5 or more mountains, lightning bolt something. Do 3 damage to any target. And as it turns out, if you cast Shapeshift and grab Valakut and 7 other mountains, then all of them will see them having come into play with you having at least 5 mountains, and they'll all do 3 points of damage to a target, and your opponent only starts at 20 life. So if you deal 21 to them, this is usually pretty lethal.
Alright. When it enters the battlefield, deals 5 damage to target opponent unless that player sacrifices a creature. Maybe I'm pretty sure there's going to be enough dragons to make any kind of dragon deck in this game, so maybe we'll visit dragons in the future.
There's also just a lot of dragon support right now. Dragons are a supported tribe in M19.
Lava Axe, if I wanted to reach. So a number of destruction and bounce, and what's this? A Boros deck. Create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens till end of turn. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain haste. Ooh. That could definitely swing in for, that's...
Well, by itself, 4.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you had a good setup.
But if you have things lying around, it's better, yes.
Huh, this is a good cycle deck. Look at top card of my library. If it's a land, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. Ooh, another dinosaur. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of a creature or land that isn't a mana ability, you may draw a card. I mean, that ability's kind of weak, but it costs the same amount of as a Thrashing Brontodon. It's a 2/5.
I mean, if nothing else, you can put it in for that 3/4 reach thing.
If nothing else, though... I'm not sure. Well, we can visit that later. Okay, Sovereign Bite, London, Loxodon, Linebreaker. What's this? Target creature gets +3/+0 against first strike. Chant creature. I've seen that. Volcanic Dragon. That's another dragon. There. Alpine Moon. Enters battlefield. Choose a non-basic land card name. Land your opponent controls with a chosen name. Loses all types and abilities and gain. Add 1 mana of any. What?
It's non-basic land hate.
But they still get a mana of any color.
Right, but lots of lands you want for their abilities, and if they instant give you a mana of any color, they're substantially worse. The Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale would not be a $1,500 card if it gave 1 mana of any color.
I see. Okay, so essentially this is... the only situation I can think of this is if we're in a best of 3 draft and I knew this was in my side deck and I knew the opponent was having a lot of non-basic lands. There was one in particular I didn't want to deal with.
Right, it needs to be a non-basic land with an ability that you don't want to see.
That's a very, very specific situation.
It also answers it very, very efficiently. You can answer it proactively and for just 1 mana.
I guess that's
true. That's a very efficient answer.
More artifact stuff related. Either you love it, you love to hate it.
You love it, you hate it, you love it.
It says battlefield, return target artifact card from a graveyard to your hand. It seems white loves a little bit of artifact as well.
Everyone has a bit to do with artifacts. I'd say black is probably just the least caring.
Ooh, here's another horse. Plague Mare can't be blocked by white creatures. When Plague Mare enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent control get -1/-1 until end of turn. And if I had that other horse, this would also be indestructible. Okay.
I am master of machine.
Okay, so we have ourselves a planeswalker.
Desert.
It's...
So your obsession with artifacts.
Okay, so we'll probably have to look into that. Let's see, create a 1/1 colorless artifact creature token with flying, draw a card. If you control 3 or more artifacts, draw 2 cards instead. -9, you get an emblem which at the beginning of your hand step, search your library for a permanent card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Holy crap, that's anything in our deck.
Well, anything that exists on the battlefield.
So yeah, creature and such, but that's powerful.
Yes.
Okay, Havoc Devils, Omen Speaker, enter the battlefield, scry 2, when Highland dies, you gain 2 life, Sky Scanner, here's another, oh that's a Drake, not a Dragon, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, here's another horse, but don't think I'd want this with that one.
There's a cycle of uncommon horses, 1 for each color.
I see.
And the Diamond Mare for colorless.
Sacrifice Mist Caller until end of turn. If a non-token creature would enter the battlefield and it wasn't cast, exile it. That seems like a more specific for the deck, another kind of draft pick.
It's reasonably specialized hate card.
Yeah.
It's probably less specialized than Alpine Moon.
Right.
Because looking your creatures for value is, I'd say, more common on the whole.
Alright. Naturalized, a Rustwing Falcon, blah, Manalist, Suspicious Bookcase. Near the wall, target creature can't be blocked this turn.
Right, there's a secret passage behind the suspicious bookcase.
Fountain of Renewal, at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life. Whoa. Sacrifice, Fountain of Renewal, draw a card. And a Mythic Rare wild card.
Oh, that's always...
Yeah, that's always good. Alright, again, Highland Game, Trumpet Blast, Sovereign Bite, Wolf, Smelt, Regal, Bloodlord. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Oh, Meteor Golem. When enters the battlefield, destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls. Okay, so I watched this guy who plays Magic called Day 9, and he kind of hates this card because he's played.
Okay, I mean, Day 9 plays everything. Let's be fair.
Yeah, let's be fair. But watching him play on Spellslingers, he's lost game after game after game because every single one of his opponent was running Meteor Golem, and they kept taking out the critical thing he needed to win. He just started to really hate this card. Valiant Knight. Other knights you control get +1/+1. Knights you control get double strike until end of turn. Holy. I think we want to make a knight deck in the future.
It's certainly a reward for being Knight Tribal.
I think I want a knight deck as well. A knight deck in the sun. Sure Strike, Luminous Bonds, a Vigilance, Field Creeper, Millstone. Target player puts top 2 cards of their library into the graveyard. Lightning Strike, and the final Bone Dragon. Exile 7 other cards from your graveyard. Return Bone Dragon from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So this guy has, I can come back from the graveyard at an extreme expense.
So the expense both is and isn't extreme. If you set up to put cards in your graveyard, you can pretty consistently have 7 cards in your graveyard. The problem is that you can't do this that many times before you run out
Of cards.
of cards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all the packs. Now we could spend gold to get some, but one thing I'd like to do into the future is do some kind of draft, not competitive, because that costs a gem. The quick draft, because this 5,000 gold, we could do a draft in the future and get gems, and if we get enough gems, then we can do the competitive draft for whatever. What's a quick singleton? Oh, here's another. You can get some cards and potential gold. If you get 4 wins, you basically get 3 cards for free.
Yeah, note that Singleton is a very different format.
Gotcha. I probably
You can only have 1 copy of non-basic lands. Sorry, you can only have 1 copy of cards other than basic lands.
Aha, okay. So we'll probably just do like a quick draft or a competitive draft or something in the future with this gold. But that'll be for future episodes. Now, let's create a deck. Now, all of these other cards, they just kind of threw at me. History lesson, there was a quest that I completed, and they gave this to me. It's a blue-white, focusing on artifacts. It's different than Azorius Ascension, so, yeah. So,
Right.
create a card. I think what we should do is look through the mythic rares that I have, and then we'll just kind of decide what we want to do with what kind of deck we want to make. For example, the Crested Sunmire. I definitely want to make a horse deck involving this at some point, but I want to have a few more horses available to pick. Do you know if there's a lot of horses?
Well, I mean, there's the entire uncommon cycle added in M19, of which you opened a couple.
Here, I'm just going to type horse to show you what we have here in Arena right now. And I'm going to do all of those. So we've got Shield Mare. Can't be blocked by red creatures. When it enters the battlefield, it becomes target of a spell or ability. Opponent controls, you gain 3 life, so that plays in with Sun Mare. So we've got Surge Mare, Plague Mare, Dust Charger. Gets +2/+2 as long as we have the State's Blessing. Nightmare, Flying. Nightmare's power and toughness are equal to the total number of swamps you control. Huh. So we've got Lightning Mare, can't be blocked by blue creatures. Can't be blocked by black creatures. And then Diamond Mare. Okay, we actually do, I think, have a few horses that we can pick out for sure. I just don't have a whole lot more rare and mythic cards to really deck it out just yet.
And I mean, the question is, how do you find the Crested Sunmare? If you want to build a deck around something, you need to answer essentially one of 2 questions, preferably both. Which is, how do I get whatever I've built around to work? And in this case, it's how do I get the Crested Sunmare on the battlefield? And you need to have a compelling answer for either that, or a compelling answer for what do I do, or how do I win if I never see a Crested Sunmare?
Right. Yeah, but I mean, we can answer this question another day with the horses. I was just saying that this is what I want to look at into the future. Right. Because Indestructible is really powerful. Alright, so let's again just go back to the Mythic Rare and see if we can build a good theme around stuff. Alright, so looks like we're starting with whites. What's this Fabricate? When creatures enter the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, or create 2 1/1 colorless artifact creature tokens. Okay. Angel of Sanctions, Exile. Here's our Planeswalker. So it seems like there's a lot of stuff in a theme right now involving artifacts.
Blue always has an obsession with artifacts. Blue has a even larger obsession than usual with artifacts right now.
And white also seems to be playing into artifacts at the moment. Let me know if you see any cards that come out to... Wait! How did I get 4 Chandras?
She's just in one of the starter decks.
Oh. Okay. 4 of them.
Like, I've looked for a while, and you can get just a really solid red-black aggro deck if you put a couple of the starter decks in a blender and take the good bits out.
Gotcha. Lightning Runner. Oh, we've got another Chandra.
Yeah, but she's not that great.
She's worse than the other Chandra? Alright,
I think your Hulk is hilarious, but not consistent. Gotcha.
Here's Nisa. I think that's one of the avatars that she can pick.
She is. I've seen Chandra, I've seen Nisa, I've seen Jace, I've seen Teferi. Not sure who else offhand.
Well, how good is Nisa, you think?
She's pretty solid. She's sometimes a bit situational.
I see. Battlefield distribute 4. There's Carnage Tyrant. Oh, here's another Nisa.
Yeah, but that Nisa's mostly drunk.
Yeah, looking at the cost of -12.
So honestly, the cost of the ultimate is usually not relevant on Planeswalkers.
Okay.
The things to look at are the efficiency of their first 2 abilities and their mana cost.
Okay. Polyraptor is another planeswalker. Until next turn, up to 1 target creature gets -3/-0, and its activated abilities can't be activated. You gain 2 life and draw a card. There's potential.
I mean, he's perfectly fine, but
Yeah.
you don't build a deck around him. You put him in decks that want to keep a creature return locked down.
Right. Here's another kind of artifact related. Not too much.
Generally, you don't build decks around planeswalkers.
You build the planeswalker around the deck.
Okay, you put planeswalkers in decks that want some more value in the mid game,
Gotcha.
and to want the type of value that planeswalker's bringing.
Okay. Those are my 2 gods. Flash, Double Strike. Double Strike is pretty powerful.
Double Strike is pretty powerful.
Other creatures you control have haste. Here's another planeswalker. This is kind of just me looking through all my planeswalkers I have, sort of thing. Loyalty. Oh wow! So she gets +1 loyalty, and then if I have a bunch of creatures, get a bunch more loyalty. So that can build up pretty quick. And if I have another bunch of creatures, I can put a lot of X power onto a creature. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield you control, you may draw a card.
So, like, those first 2 abilities look really exciting, but envision the board where you have a bunch of creatures.
Yeah.
Are you already happy with your board position?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Johnny, reveal top 3 cards of your library, put all non-permanents, reveal this way into your hand, the rest of the bottom of your library in any order. Exile target creature, its control against life equals to its power. Mediocre. Another Johnny. Alright, I didn't know I had so many of these planeswalkers owned. Maybe these just came into the decks that they threw in or something.
These starting decks have a surprising amount of decent junk in them.
Yeah. Well, they have to. They can't just say, hey, you're into magic? Well, here, have all the crappy stuff.
Right.
Andrew's Gateway, Heart of Kyrian. Okay, Paradox Engine. Whenever you cast a spell, and tap all non-land permanents. Alright. Battlefield or attack to deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker and opponent controls. So what is this kind of lightning bolt shield thing? Yeah, I know it's a new type of resource, but I don't know what it's called.
It's called energy.
Energy.
It was the set mechanic for Kaladesh block.
Okay.
Cards could give you energy counters. They're technically counters on a player. So, for instance, the Sun Speaker that we opened earlier can remove all counters from a player and prevent that player from getting counters. Which means that if they're trying to run an energy deck, they're really sad until they kill off your Sunkeeper.
Okay. So, let me just reset the filter. Wait, what? Okay, I guess that works. Okay. So, do you have any theme ideas? Because I have 2 in mind, unless you have another thing that you're thinking of that might work pretty well.
I mean, I'm happy to hear what themes you're thinking about. I'll give you some input on which one I think will be better.
Well, Knight, because we just got a really good synergy with Knight cards. Or, I wanted to try making an Explorer deck as well, where we can certainly cycle through and get our stuff stronger as we're cycling through our deck. So which one do you would you like to try?
I think Knights is probably a stronger deck.
Okay.
I think Explorer might end up being more fun to play.
Well, we'll do both. So the first one, let's just do Knights, because we got that new card. It's already fresh in our mind. So let me just filter for everything Knight related, and let's go through and find our Knights. Alright, so Dauntless Bodyguard in this battlefield, choose another creature you control, sacrifice, the chosen creature gains indestructible until end of turn. I mean,
we almost... Like, as a Knight deck, we're going to be pretty aggro, veering towards mid-range, because Knights have the option for a lot of Lords. Which means, in the first place, we're happy to have something that can keep one of our Lords alive. In the second place, it's actually just a 2-1 for 1, so we can run it out on turn 1 in some cases and just start hitting it with it. And that's fine also. We should certainly be playing the Dauntless Bodyguard.
Alright. Famished Paladin. He seems pretty lackluster. He doesn't untap during our untap step, and he only untaps whenever we gain life. Knight of New Benalia. It's a 3-1 for 2. I mean, she's fragile, but she can pack a punch.
Nah, just stick her in the sideboard for now.
Oh, yeah, right.
I think if you hold shift when you move them over.
Oh. Knight's Pledge.
No.
No, sure, okay. For a leecher, it's at the battlefield, search for a vampire card. I have seen that there's a lot of vampire knights as well. Like this one, whenever Paladin's plus stay in the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. It is a little expensive though.
Let's get the next page.
Here he is. Valiant Knight. Definitely put that in. Just notice we don't have a whole lot of knight stuff.
Well, we'll have to be hybrid Knights Vampires. We're certainly white-black with Knights and Vampires. I don't think that's something we can not be.
Okay.
At this point.
Alright. Knight of Malice. Hexproof from white. First strike, as long as Knights of Malice get +1/+0, as long as any player controls a white permanent. That includes us. Awesome.
We are, in fact, players, yes.
Okay, so he's going in. Oathsworn Vampire. At this battlefield tap, you may cast Oathsworn Vampire from your graveyard if you gained life this turn. We don't... Maybe if we have, like, some gain life, we could revisit this guy. Otherwise... What do you think?
Well, note that we'll end up with some gain life if we're committing into having...
Because we would have life
vampires.
That's true. Lifelink. So put them in.
If nothing else, if we're we need bodies at 2. Fundamentally, we need bodies that cost 2 mana.
Okay. Voracious Vampire. Whenever it enters the battlefield, target vampire you control gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn. That's interesting.
Shove them in the sideboard. We'll have to come back and look at the density of things.
Alright, use that shift click. Yeah,
I think shift click is what it is.
I think that works. Whoops. Let's take them out for a second so we can read it. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Well, there's some of our gained life there. Chucking them in. Champion of the Dusk. Whenever Champion of the Dusk enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control.
Yes.
Knights of the Stampede. Well, he's green, so next.
No.
Right. That's he works well with dinosaurs, but I don't think I want anything to replace for him in my dinosaur deck. Definitely get this guy.
Yep.
We'll probably get more of him in the future. What's this? Vigilance, lifelink. Pay 7 life. Destroy target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only during your turn.
We're definitely playing it. That's not a question.
Yeah. So we can definitely get copies of cards later, but let's
go back to the first page.
Oh. Okay. Famished Paladin. when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a vampire card, reveal it, shuffle your library, and put it on top. Whenever another vampire enters the battlefield you control, target creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. I'm guessing we need to have this because he is a vampire knight. More.
He's a vampire knight, and actually we do have singleton vampires that are knights that we want to tutor up.
Right. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. I'm guessing yes.
It's a 4/3 for 4.
It just.
And the lifelink tokens, yeah, okay, yeah, put them in.
Alright, so that's everything knight related. Let's look at vampire related stuff.
Okay, so we're at
36, but we haven't touched the lands yet.
right, but they've already put the default lands in, which means that we're actually only at 12 creatures right now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's pull up the vampire. No. Just the rate on the Sky Marcher isn't good enough.
Okay. Dark creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's a
The
vampire.
rate on the Sky Marcher Aspirant might be okay, but on the Duskborn Sky Marcher, no.
The Sky Marcher Aspirant might be okay. Did you say?
Depends on how aggro we want to be. If we're tilting more towards mid-range,
Oh, that didn't work. Sky Marcher Aspirant didn't go into the sideboard.
might be a control click, I don't remember.
No, not control click. Alright, I'll just go stick it in the sideboard so we can review it for later. Vampire Zeal. Dark creature +2/+2, and if it's a vampire gains first strike, that could be. Should I put this in the sideboard too?
No.
Okay. Alright. Long as Auto Vanguard's attack gets +2/+0, pay for life, it gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay.
Probably not for us. We don't actually have any method of. We're not currently really running anything that buffs vampires. We're running things that buff knights currently.
Right. Okay. Definitely Bishop soldiers. 2/2 with lifelink for 2. Cleansing
We need
Ray.
A couple of them we're at.
What?
We're at 7 things at 2 right now. Okay.
No, you're just counting up here.
Yep.
Alright, Martyr of the Dusk. When it dies, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. That's kind of. I mean, it's a 2/1 for 2.
2/1 for 2 is not that exciting.
Yeah, I'll just leave it there. A 1/3 for 2 with flying.
Is also just not that exciting.
How about a 2/3 for 3 with flying? Still not exciting?
No, it's not exciting.
We got a couple Legion Conquistadors. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for any number of cards named Legion Conquistador, reveal them, put into your hand, shuffle your library. Nah.
They're mostly just amazingly slow.
Yeah. Avern Fane, Dusk Apostle. Whenever one or more non-token vampires you control attack, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink.
Yes, we'll run him.
Yeah. Queen's Commission. Create 2 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink.
Probably not.
Enchant creature has +1/+1 with lifelink. Whenever Squire Devotion enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink.
Stick one on the sideboard.
Okay.
I actually want to come back to that.
Bishop of Binding. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature in public control until Bishop Binding leaves the battlefield. Whenever Bishop Binding attacks, target vampire gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the power of the exiled card. So this is kind of a removal buffs creature.
So we almost certainly want to run it just on the basis of the fact that it's a removal spell.
Right. Sanguine Glorifier. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on another target vampire you control.
Probably not.
Okay, Vampire Neonate. Each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. We drew a number of these. It gets kind of like it's a kind of a wall creature for 1 that we can steal a life from an opponent. I think we should run these. What do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay. Vicious Conquistador. Whenever attacked, each opponent loses 1 life. For 1.
That definitely, like, it has potential.
Sideboard.
Let's stick it on sideboard for now.
Dust Legion Zealot. Enters the battlefield, draw a card, and lose 1 life. And now. Ooh, gifted.
So Dust Legion Zealots are actually pretty good. They're just probably not for this deck.
Right. Gifted Aetherborn, Death Touch, Lifelink. For 2, I'm chucking these in.
Do note that they do play some strain in our mana base.
Yeah.
Being double black.
But I mean, we're pretty much even white and black at this point. Queen Space Soldier, 2/2 for 2. I think we have enough 2/2s for now. Sadistic Sky Marcher, enter an additional cost, reveal a vampire, or pay 1, flying and lifelink. Potential? Thoughts?
Could have potential.
I'll sideboard it. Alright. Sky Marcher's Bloodletter. It's the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Not exciting. Undying Partisan. Haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter. Sacrifice another creature. You only gains indestructible until end of turn.
We're not that wide.
Right.
I know. I still think you should stick him in.
In or sideboard?
In.
Okay. Anointed Deacon. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target vampire gain +2/+0 until end of turn.
Okay, but 5 mana is a lot, and he isn't worth 5.
Bishop of the Bloodstain. Whenever it's the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life for each vampire you control. We're not that wide.
We're not that wide.
Champion of the Dusk. We have Sangreer Vampire. Whenever a creature is dealt damage by Sangreer Vampire dies this turn, put +1/+1 counter on Sangreer Vampire. For 5. It's a little up there.
Don't think he's worth it.
Alright. Vampire Sovereign. Enters the battlefield. Target opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life. No. Queen's Agent. When Queen's Agent enters the battlefield, it explores. Ooh.
Not
6.
worth 6.
I didn't see the 6. I didn't look up there just yet. Call to the Feast. Create 3 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink.
No.
Regal Bloodlord. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. I think this is alright. What do you think?
Sure, we can stick that in.
Alright. So what do you want to search for right now?
We
didn't get
so
as
what I
much.
want to search for right.
Maybe we didn't get very many knights, I feel, and we won't really benefit from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to look for any knights we don't have collected. Imperial Lancer has double strike as long as you control a dinosaur. Defender, as long as no of those knights is enchanted or equipped, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender.
We have no enchantments or equipment
Yeah.
for it. That's part of it entirely different.
Battles on the
Entirely
+1/+0 for each legendary creature you control. That's very situational. Whenever Cavalry Drillmaster enters the battlefield, target creature gains +2/+0 and gains first strike until the end of turn. For 2.
It's then just a really lackluster body afterwards.
I guess. Knight of Grace, first strike, hexproof from black. Knights of Grace get +1/+0 as long as any player controls a black permanent. I'm putting this in. How many we'll determine later.
Okay.
Because any black permanent that includes us.
Right.
Okay. Knight's Pledge, Paladin of Atonement. This is a Vampire Knight. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Paladin of Atonement. Paladin of Atonement dies, you gain life equal to its toughness. Huh. So like that Legion guy that you draw a card and lose 1 life, you can pump this guy up with him.
Right. The question is, how many hoops are you willing to jump through to make Paladin of Atonement good? And then, if you've stepped through those hoops, what do you do if you don't draw Paladin of Atonement?
Right. But I mean, just by himself, put him in. What do you think? Yay? Nay?
Just by himself, he's a 1/1 for 2. That gains you 1 life when he dies.
But I mean, if you lose life, that includes taking combat damage. If you don't block or anything, he gets +1/+1, right? Is that how it works?
Sure, and then he's at 2/2 for 2, which is still not exciting.
Okay. Benali Marshal. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. It's 3 white, but that sounds pretty beneficial, and he'd benefit from that knight card that we have in there already.
Yes, as I said, one of the strengths of Knights of the Tribe right now is that they can run a lot of lords, and Benalish Marshal would be one of them.
Alright. We'll just put 1 in for now. Danicia, Paragon. First strike, vigilance, lifelink, aura, and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Well, we don't have any aura equipment spells just yet, but first strike, vigilance, and lifelink on a 2/2 for 3 sounds good to me. What do you think?
Not really.
Oh.
So think about it. If my opponent has a 3/3 for 3, which is just pretty common, or even just a 2/3 for 3, what does this do?
Nothing. I see.
Nothing.
Dub, Increment Creature. Increment Creature gets +2/+2 and has first strike and is a knight in addition to its other types.
No.
Okay. History of Benalia. Create a 2/2 white creature token with vigilance for the first 2 turns, and then knights you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. That sounds... What do you think? For 3 mana?
It's a good card that I wouldn't blow Mythic Crafts on.
Okay. Call to Cavalry. Create 2 2/2 white knight creature tokens with vigilance for 4.
I mean, you're generating 4 power for 4 mana, which is acceptable, but we don't have anything that really rewards. Like we don't have that many. We don't have that many lords, which means that we
need more lords.
That's a conclusion you could draw, I guess.
When Gallant Cavalry enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance.
It is exactly like Call the Cavalry, except the
Better.
second body is an actual body. It's not strictly better.
Well, it's better
mostly
because
strictly different.
Oh, these also have vigilance. Okay. And it's a common card, so.
Right, but it means that you want to use like blink effects to generate 1 extra knight as opposed to spell recursion to generate 2 or something.
Creatures you control with first strike have double strike. I don't think we have too many things that have first strike. But that would definitely work with a first strike deck, this guy.
So I mean, the Knights of Grace and Knights of Malice have first strike. I think those are the only things we have with first strike.
Yeah, he has first strike. Where's the Knights of Grace?
They're also at 2.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Let me know if we should come back to that guy.
No.
That's fine, as long as you control a dinosaur. No. Valiant Knight. We already have him. Knightly Valor. Enchant creature. When Knightly Valor enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Creature gets +2/+2 and has vigilance. No. Hello, Mr. I've got 7 health.
I also cost 6 mana and only have 3 power.
What's this? When Lena, Selfless Champion, enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each non-token creature you control. Sacrifice Lena, creatures you control with power less than Lena's power gain indestructible until end of turn. For 6 mana, this doesn't seem too worth it.
I think my biggest problem with her is actually that she's just mostly 1 more. In order for you to get like a lot of value out of making lots of soldiers and then making lots of things indestructible, you need to already have a lot of creatures. And if I've already got, 5 non-token creatures on my battlefield, again, this is probably a game in which I'm doing well.
Yeah. Bloodcrazed Paladin. Flash. Bloodcrazed Paladin enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn, and it has Flash.
This is a type of card where it's very easy to think about the dream scenario where, like, your opponent wraths and then you flash it in, or your opponent, blocks and trades off everything and then you flash it in. But the dream scenarios just don't actually quite come up as often as you think they do.
Right. Skip for now. Alright, then we're in the Knights of Valis. Cabal Paladin. When you cast a historic spell, Cabal deals 2 damage to each opponent. How many legendaries do we have? Yep, alright.
Like 2, maybe 3.
1, 2. 2. Okay, that's
now
not...
we've got big. Just scroll down to the bottom. Also.
Oh, 1, 2.
The Waldlord isn't legendary.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, so 3. Yeah, that's not really worth it. Because we don't have sagas or artifacts right now. Zombie Knight. Kicker. This is really expensive.
Well, if you kick him, he costs a mere 10.
Mere 10. When we enter the battlefield, if it was kicked, create 8 2/2 black zombie knight creature tokens with menace. And he's a 4 mana for 4/5. Alright, I'm impressed now.
His front end is pretty good. His back end should definitely close out games, especially if you buff the tokens at all.
Which we are. We have a couple
But there's no guarantee that you'll have anything lying around to buff them with after you cast him for 10.
Right, but I mean, he's the same cost as his Sanctum Seeker, but he's stronger. Because he's Menace and he's a 4/5 for the same cost as Sanctum Seeker. Which
but he doesn't have the triggered ability to cause my opponents to lose life and me to gain life.
No, I see. Well, I'll leave it up to you. Take or pass, or come back later.
I'd pass for now.
Okay. Well, let's keep him in mind in the future. Alright, so Deathless Agent, tap 3, untap Vampire to control, return Deathless Agent from your graveyard to your hand. For 6, for a 4/4. That's
Note that he's flying and he self-recurs.
Would you take him?
I would take one, yes.
All right. Well, it is just an uncommon, so that's worthwhile. And all right. So Legion Lieutenant. Now this, I've seen people have multiple of these, and they could really just buff up each other and all vampires. What is this? Human Knight. Create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. Tap X, untap knights you control. Destroy target creature with power X or less. This sounds like a good one.
So I think he's, in practice, mostly doing the same thing that Vona's doing. And I think Vona is mostly doing it better.
Destroy target on-land permanent, activates this ability only during your turn. But he is cheaper than Vona, and you can create more white knights.
Yes. But I think you're generally more interested in the destroying things. But I mean, you could craft one, and it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Alright, I'll do it. It synergizes a bit well. What do you do? Lifelink, whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Elda. Question, if you sacrifice, does that count as creature dies?
Yes.
Okay.
A creature dies if it is put into the graveyard from the battlefield.
Okay, when Elda dies, create a X/1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, where X is Elda's power. We passed on one that's similar like this. We're passing on her. I'm pretty safe to say, right? Everard the Curse, Death Touch, and lifelink. Other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. We are trying to get up there in legendaries.
We have four now.
Oh,
no, we are not up there on legendaries.
Okay.
So one thing I want to point out about the difference between Elenda and the one we passed on earlier is that Elenda doesn't require them to have died the same turn.
Gotcha.
Is that you can play her proactively, not reactively.
Yeah. Sword. Sigiled Sword of Valoron. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, has vigilance, and is a knight in addition to its other types. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance that's attacking. And I don't think so. Because we already have a lot of knights already. Though we do have some cards in here that are not knights. And it's a 3 cost to put on the field and then equipped.
The biggest problem with it is, like, the effects are strong. The +2/+0 and vigilance and is a knight is not super great, but the whenever it attacks,
another white knight, a creature knight,
another knight token is pretty cool, and it also makes you really hard to just entirely run out of creatures, because say they kill the person wielding the Sigiled Sword of Valoron.
I just equip it to another creature.
You can equip it to the knight that you just made.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm tempted to chuck this in. What do you think?
So honestly, we won't see it very often. We have absolutely no method of finding it in our deck.
Okay. We can always come back to it later after we play this deck a little bit.
One of the reasons why I've been fine with many of these random one-offs is because we have this is not perfect in that there are good numbers that it doesn't find, but we do have the Forerunners of the Legion to go fetch vampires to the top of our deck, which means at least like Vona,
we can get a number of them out,
and Mavrin and Yahanni and the Bishop of Finding. Like, we can find if this is an effect we need.
All right, and I'm thinking of getting another of these Legion Lieutenants because they're uncommon and it buffs all of our vampires. So
Yep.
at least 2. I feel like we need at least 2. We probably will get more later down, but 2 for now. I'm going to do one more search for vampires we don't own. Again, I'm actually going to remove the collected, so it's only the ones that we don't own. When Legion landing enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. When you attack with 3 or more creatures, transform Legion's landing, add 1 planes, or create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. I think we're passing.
Okay.
Because, I mean, like, it takes some setup, and being able to create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink does synergize a little bit with our deck, but it costs 3 mana each time to do so.
Sure. But the thing to note about it is that it's does not require any card investment once we have it set up. Is that it's ongoing potential value.
Oh.
And it's good for fighting mostly control matchups, I'd expect. Well, some... I'd have to think about what things are currently running these days to figure out what it's good against.
Alright, but we're passing on this for now, correct?
But we're passing on it for now, yes.
Inspiring Cleric, no. All it does is gains life, but we're not spending our life on anything. Whenever Bishop of Rebirth attacks, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. How much? 3. So from here, we do have a number of creatures that are 3 or less, but would we get as much? Well, but they come back to the battlefield. That's 5.
They come back to the battlefield, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Huh. Yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay, okay. Glorifier of Dusk, pay 2 life. Glorifier of Dusk gains fire to end of turn. Pay 2 life, gains vigilance until end of turn. Skip. Bloodcrazed Paladin, I feel like we looked at that one.
That's that one.
Child of the Night, a 2/1 with lifelink. Next. Raka's Conquistadors. Whenever it attacks or blocks, if you control a plane of Raka Planeswalker, or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. No. Arterial Flow, each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. We will have vampires.
Yeah, but that's a not terribly relevant rider. I mean, it's of course strictly better to also cause them to lose 2 life and gain 2 life than otherwise, broadly speaking. But
just they can choose which 2 cards to discard. That doesn't really help us.
Well, it does. It's still card advantage. We're going down 1 card. They're going down 2 cards.
Right.
But we're also going down 3 mana.
Right.
Like, this is on the whole can be okay, but
so wait, this is to return a pirate, vampire, dinosaur, and merfolk. So this is like
yes.
a multi. You have to have 1 of each in your graveyard to really get the best value out of this card. This is a very situational card. Enchant creature gets +2/+2. It has lifelink. No thanks. Twilight Prophet. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have this Ace Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life and you gain X life for X's cards converted mana cost. But that requires the city's blessing, so I don't think so.
Right.
Vampire Champion, a 3/3 with Death Touch for 4. Vampire Revenant, flying 3/1, but that's 4 mana. But it's still flying with 3.
No.
Epicure of Blood, whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life.
No, we don't actually have that much life gain. Like, we have some incidental life gain, but
Right. Flying, whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt damage, put +1/+1 counter on him. Deals 2 damage to target creature, but we have no mountains, and he already costs 7. I'm moving on.
Yep.
I think we've looked at her before.
We've looked at her before.
Alright, so not really too much vampire
Yep.
stuff. So what stuff do you feel like we should be looking at? Well, I mean, here's a sideboard. Anything here that you think we should put in?
No. So, like, what we want to look for right now is just things that say destroy. Because we need some reliable removal.
Well, we are white, so we can banish some stuff.
Mhm.
And let me redo the filter. Should I do not collected as well, so we don't have to do this dance again?
Sure. I'd actually swap the search term over to target creature.
That's... And I'm going to restrict that to white and black and
Yep.
artifact.
Sure. And this will generate some false positives. Like that one.
False positive?
So there are lots of reasons that you target creatures other than killing them or otherwise removing them.
Right. So... skip that. Blazing Hope, exile target creature with power greater than or equal to your life total.
No.
Because it's pretty much just like, you're losing. Built to last, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it's an artifact creature, gain indestructible, resolve, attack target. Prevent all damage that we dealt to it this
Nope.
turn.
Nope.
Attack.
Nope. Actually just put the filter down, turn it to instant or sorcery.
Okay. Built to last, Gideon's defeat, exile target creature.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Gains indestructible, that's not what we're looking for.
Not enough selection. No.
Exile target creature that
Nope.
blocks her. Okay.
Nothing on this page.
Oh, you already looked through the whole page?
Yeah. I'm much faster at it than you.
Apparently.
Put a Take Vengeance in the sideboard, bottom on the left.
Yeah, that is actually pretty powerful. And we have 3 of those.
But,
Move on.
move on. How do you feel about Settle the Wreckage?
Let's see. Exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search their library for that many basic land cards. Put those cards in the battlefield. Tap and shuffle to their library. I've been screwed over by this card a couple times. I am so down with putting it into our deck.
Okay. Next page. We'll take 4 fatal pushes.
Destroy target creature that has a red mana cost 2 or less. Revolt. For the trigger of another permanent control of the battlefield this turn. Destroy that creature if it has converted mana cost 4 or less instead. Okay. Yeah.
We should consider... We should consider having duress or harsh scrutiny.
Talk about reveal their hand. You choose non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards the card. Reveals their hand. You choose a creature card from it. That player discards that card. Scry 1. Harsh scrutiny is pretty good. Do we do 2 or just 1?
2.
Okay. Should we put a couple duresses in as well, or just harsh scrutiny?
Yeah, put in 2 duresses.
Okay. Were you done with that page?
Yeah, we're done with that page.
Alright. Cast down, destroy.
Not legendary is a little bit awkward though. Next page. Next page.
Oh, wait, murder, destroy target creature.
Yeah, but I'm looking for an exile effect.
Ah. That could be potential, but I think we need more of a zombie deck for that to take effect. To really get benefit from that.
Never to Return is being a zombie deck is mostly irrelevant. You're happy to. So essentially, the return bid is mostly free because Never is reasonably costed, and there are a number of circumstances where you might want to exile a card from a graveyard, and getting a zombie on top of that is just gravy for the fact that you paid 4 mana to exile one card, which is hideously overcosted.
All right, that sounds good, but we're still looking for exile, right?
Yeah, we're looking for exile. It's not what we're after.
Maybe we should just put exile in the filter.
Okay.
Blazing Hope. No. Exile target permanent with convert mana cost 1. That's very specific.
Specific? Yes, well. Next page.
That seems potentially powerful.
Urza's Ruinous Blast is kind of awkward.
Oh, because it hits mine as well.
Yes. Next page. We'll take the one Vraska's Contempt.
Oh, yeah.
We're happy to play the premium to also have the option of hitting Planeswalkers. And making sure it's very dead is what we're here for.
Alright, so that's the end.
Indeed.
Alright, so I want to go through the deck a bit, change some things.
Why don't you just go ahead and pull up the mana curve?
So his average is 2.64. It's 50% black.
Yeah. If we got an 11-13 land split, yeah, it's probably fine. That should be a fine starting point.
Alright, so we need to just play a few games and figure it out from there.
I also recommend naming it.
Yeah, hang on, I'll just do +1, because there is one other card that I am remembering. It's an enchantment. I've seen people play. Not this. Radiant Destiny. I've seen a number of vampire decks that I've encountered have this. I choose Vampire or Knight, and they have they get +1/+1, and then the City's Blessing. They also have Vigilance, but a lot of them already have Vigilance, don't they? Well,
not a lot of them. You can throw in the Radiant Destiny. Probably take out one of the bad 2-drops for it.
One of the what?
Bad 2-drops.
Do you see it? Where?
One of the bad 2-drops. Pick something that costs 2 mana that you think is bad.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure if it's the Bishop Soldiers or the Oathsworn Vampires. Probably an Oathsworn Vampire.
Yeah. Okay. And for this... trying to think... that's removed. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Shut up. You shut up. Where are you? Oh, right, because it's an enchantment. Alright, where are you? Where are you? You're probably at the black-white.
That was black. That was the Champion of Dusk.
Yes, okay. That's what I was trying to do. Vampiric Knights. Do you approve of this name?
It's perfectly descriptive.
Do you have a better name? I ask.
No, that's fine.
Do we want any dual lands? White, blacks?
We should certainly look at what lands you have.
Alright, so comes in cycle, enters battlefield tapped. That could give us a lot of swamps for sure.
No, it really doesn't.
Oh. If they're dead land. Nah. Turn target creature card from a graveyard to your hand. No.
We definitely want to be running the one concealed courtyard.
This battlefield tapped unless you could control 2 or fewer other lands. So put one of those in. We could get Forbidden Sanctuary. How many of these do you think we need?
I'd rather try and make everything work with 0 because tapped is awkward.
Okay. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp.
I think we just stick with the one concealed courtyard and call it a day.
I'm just going to do one last sweep in case there's something that involved knights. I doubt it, but
I mean, you could potentially play like Uncharted Territory, whatever it is called. Unclaimed Territory.
Unclaimed Territory.
You could potentially run those.
And remove the plains for it.
Well, I'll point out you can adjust that manually, but...
Okay, and what would we choose? Vampire or Knight? Probably Vampire, right?
Well, that would depend on what our hand looks like.
No, I'm just going to stick with that.
Okay.
Alright, well, this has been a little bit of a long episode. I definitely want to try Vampire Knights, but we'll do it in the next episode. Are you okay with that?
Certainly.
Alright, then I'll see you all in the next episode where we will be playing around with our new Vampiric Knights.
Alright, and I'll see you then.